Welcome back to Stacy So and So. Thank you for being here. I hope you had a wonderful week. Although I know, as a fellow sewist, if crocheter, knitter, fiber artist, I know you are probably still mourning about the decision from over the weekend, where we found out that Great American won the bid for Joann's, and they will be liquidating and basically dissolving the entire company. So it definitely feels like, the end of an era. I remember when Peace Good Shop. Do you remember Peace Good Shops? I remember when they finally closed, I think in the mid 90s, Hancock Fabrics. But the difference between when like our Hancock's closed, where I lived, we at least had options. We had Joann's. So, you know, it's just, I don't know what we're going to do. It's going to be really difficult for many of us. And I feel really sad because, one, I kind of felt like there was starting to become a resurgence of people interested in learning how to sew again. And this will be a setback because it's definitely going to be much more challenging for someone who really wants to get started. I loved shopping at my local Joann's when I lived in Columbus. I loved shopping here because, I'm one of those people, as many of us are. I like to be able to go in and, browse. And of course, I want to be able, being able to go in and see and touch the fabric and be able to hold it up to others and go, ooh, do I really like this, coordinated together. And not to be able to really do that anymore. It's sad. But the other thing that we're losing is we're losing a knowledge resource. I mean, I can't speak for everyone's Joann's, but I know the Joann's that I have shopped at, the people were really knowledgeable about sewing, and they were really helpful. They were creative. And, I always had a great experience whenever I went. And so to lose that is also, it's very sad, and it's not good for the sewing community, especially for, again, people who are wanting to start learning to sew, because they were very helpful in helping people get what they needed so they could get started. They could answer questions. So, that's terrible. That's just a terrible loss. And as bad as I feel for all of us, the sewers, the crafters, those who run small sewing businesses, who they in particular are going to be scrambling, trying to find, new places to get fabric. And, that's hard. But the people I feel the worst for are the employees of Joann's, because from what I understand, basically all of them will be gone by the end of May. And where I live, it's never been easy to find stable work. And so it's going to be even more difficult for them now in the current economy. So, it's just very sad. And I really hope that they really, they said that I think Great American said that they were going to hold job fairs and help them to be able to find new work. And I really hope that they follow through on that, and that is true. But I know in certain areas it's going to be much more difficult than others. I know in our area that will probably be, quite the task to help them. So, but fingers crossed for them, and sending them all of the positive vibes. So where does that leave us? We're a lot of, I do shop for fabric online, but I know it's not ideal. And, a lot of people don't like doing it, and I can completely understand that. Plus, we incur, you incur the cost of shipping material, which sometimes is not cheap, or if you choose the cheapest option, it will take longer. So it's going to take an adjustment, especially if you're running a small business, an adjustment on, how long it's going to take to get your supplies versus am I going to have to pay, or will I pay at higher cost to get my fabric and notions and everything that I need in a certain amount of time. Now, granted, there are some other options. They do cost a little bit more. Like our local quilting and sewing shops all have fabric. Now, I don't always use just cotton fabric, so I feel like I have, with maybe some of the things that I make, I am being limited, so I am definitely going to have to do more shopping for fabric online. But definitely check out your small local businesses to see what they have. They are also incredibly knowledgeable people. So, if you're just starting out sewing, it's a great place to go to someone that places that sell sewing machines, and a lot of them they have fabric, they offer classes. It would be a great resource. I will definitely be checking out my local stores, but the other thing that I do is I thrift for fabric. And I know a lot of people are like, you thrift for fabric? Yes, sometimes you'd be amazed when someone empties out their aunt's stash or whatever, and they don't know what else to do with it, so they take it to the thrift store. So like even though our local Heart and Hand thrift store is really small, occasionally I'll walk in and find, they do have a small like craft section sometimes, and so I will definitely come in and find some fabric or things. But the other sections that you want to check for fabric, besides the craft section and the clothing section, because sometimes you find like capes and larger items that you can use to thrift flip, and then use the excess if you want to use like for pockets or patchwork like I do and things like that. Other places to look. Be sure to check out the linen section. So look for sheets, any kind of bedding. Look at the section where they have curtains, tablecloths. I made the cutest pink linen dress out of a pink tablecloth. No one knew. I mean, a tablecloth is essentially just yardage of fabric. So look at blankets, get creative, see what they have. Sometimes it's a lot of fun because, it's like a little treasure hunt. You never know what you are going to find. So what I did, knowing that, a lot of people have not ever shopped online for fabric, or just don't know where to start, or just, have just not had a good experience, I sat down and made a list. Let me grab my list. I made a list of places to find fabric, as well as other, like this sewing notions and trims and all those things that you need. These are places that I have shopped online, except for 4. There are 4 fabric places that I just happened to come across, and I checked them out, and I have not ordered yet, but I definitely want to check them out because of what they're offering. I've read their shipping policies. I'm like, I think this is the place I definitely want to try. So let me just start at the top of the list. We're going to start with fabric. Okay, so I'm going to start with fabric thrift stores. And then I'll go on to more traditional style fabric stores that are online, and then give you some suggestions on some other places that you can look for, like notions and trim and sewing tools and things like that. So the first place I'm going to mention, and by the way, I will list all of these in the description of this video. I will include the websites so that it's easy for you to go in and just click and go straight to the website so that you can check these places out yourself. So the first place I'm going to talk about in fabric thrift stores is Paper City Fabrics. And you guys have seen me talk about them before on here. I will give you an example. Like, for instance, all of this fabric right here, this is all from Paper City Fabrics. And it's only $4 a yard. Now, again, you never know what you're going to find. But if you're doing a specific project, if you want to make an apron, or if you're starting out, you don't want to spend a lot of money on fabric, it's a great option. The shipping is not too bad, especially if you're ordering, like I ordered several pieces together, so the shipping works out really well. And they ship through USPS, and typically I get it within like 5 days, which I think is really good. So definitely check out Paper City Fabrics. Also online, Swanson's Fabrics. Swanson's has been around. They were the first one I ever discovered. I found them on TikTok. They always have an incredible collection. She also does classes. So if you're looking and you're a fiber artist, or you want to be into fiber arts, or she does classes on how to make rag rugs. So you can do an online class. You can actually purchase her class and learn how to make these awesome rag rugs. So definitely check out Swanson's Fabrics. Then there's also Lucky Deluxe Fabrics, another one that I discovered on TikTok. She has a fantastic collection. I really appreciate the way her website is laid out. So definitely check out Lucky Deluxe. Making Space Thrift. Now, her website is smaller right now. She only has about 6 or 7 things listed on there, but I'm sure there will be more coming. If you're looking for, something specific, if you want to be able to, let's say you're wanting to make a small quilt and you need a collection of, maybe all blues and different shades, reach out by email and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Do you have anything? I am sure they're very responsive. Natalie, my friend, owns it, and they're very good about being responsive and very helpful. Now, this next one I'm going to mention is one I have not shopped at yet, but I really took time to check out their website last night. It is called a Thrifty Notion, which I love the name. That's what caught my eye, and I'm like, oh, what are they? I really liked what I saw. I read their shipping. I read the about section about who they are. Definitely a place I'm going to be ordering from, so you should check them out too. You may find exactly what you're looking for. Now I'm going to move on to more traditional style, just online fabric stores. And I'm going to go through a little bit more quickly because I don't want this video to be too long and too overwhelming. Knit.com. So if you are looking for any kind of knit, whether it's t-shirt, like jersey, cotton, lycra, I've ordered sweater material from them. I've made sweaters. They're a great option. So knitfabric.com. Raspberry Creek Fabrics is another one. They have beautiful fabric, great quality, and their prices are still really good. Fabric Wholesale Direct, another fantastic option. They have a variety of different kinds of fabrics. Keep in mind from them, as well as all of these, if you want to order swatches ahead of time, they look at their policies on that, and they will send you a swatch so you can make sure that if you need to touch it, feel it, you can do that. Online fabric store, another great option. Again, a variety of different types of fabric and really good pricing. And then don't forget about Michaels. Now, my local Michaels does not carry fabric in the store, but I can order it online. Now, my hope is, especially in our area, since we are going to be really limited in places that we can go and buy fabric, I am hoping that maybe they'll expand our Michaels and add at least a small fabric section. That would be really nice. But I have bought fabric from Michaels offline, and I've been really happy with my purchase. So don't forget to check out michaels.com. And then there's Mood Fabrics. Now, Mood has gorgeous fabrics available. They are on the higher end. But if you're making something for a special occasion and you want something that's more unique and you want a really nice high quality of fabric, definitely check out mood.com. Now, what's next? Oh, there's one more. This one I have not shopped at yet, but again, it was one that I took time to check out online because I was like, I really like what I'm seeing. I was happy with their shipping policies and pricing. It is Fabric Selection, and it's fabricselection.com. So another one to definitely check out. Then there's also shopfabric.com, another one that I have not purchased from yet, but after checking it out, I think it's definitely a place that I will see myself purchasing from. Then there's also Fabric Mart. Their website is Fabric Mart Fashions. Again, this is the other one that I have not shopped at, but have reviewed their website and read their policies in their about section and really liked what I read and will be giving them a try as well. Now, let's say that you're looking for sewing tools, trims, notions, and things like that. Be sure to check out Wawak. That is, if you've never heard of them, it's W-A-W-A-K, Wawak. Their prices are fantastic. You can find thread, zippers, all the hooks, all of those kinds of things. I know that's where my friend had suggested when I did my Bermuda bag and I wanted to add a strap. That's where she's like, that's the best place to get the hardware. So definitely check out Wawak. This one keeps getting suggested to me. I have not done it yet, but I've asked my husband, I'm like, can we go to Harbor Freight? He's like, you want to go to Harbor Freight? What do you want to go to Harbor Freight for? I've discovered that, because I have, there it is, right there. I do use my rotary tool a lot. Those blades are really expensive to replace sometimes. And I guess you can go to Harbor Freight and buy the same size and replace them for like less than $1. So I'm going to try it. I know I've seen people go and buy, I don't know what they are. They're round, about this big. They're metal. They have a hole in the center. They're flat. They're heavy. People will go and buy those and use those as paperweights. So get creative. If I go to Harbor Freight, and we will go, I just don't know when, I'll do a video just to kind of see what they have and what I end up purchasing. Now, if you're looking for trim, I haven't ordered any of the fabric places that I told you about, especially like actually all of them, even the thrift fabric stores, as well as the traditional. You can always look for trims and notions, and with them, they may have appliques. The one I have ordered from, I think, has great prices and always ships and gets things to me so quickly. It's Trims by the Yard, and their website is trimsbytheyard.com. I've always been very happy with everything I've received, and they get it to me really quick. I've always been impressed with how quickly they ship stuff. So you will definitely want to check them out too. They definitely have different kinds of trims and appliques and lace, so that could be a good option for you to check as well. Now, other places that you can look for fabric, notions, trims, even sewing patterns, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Be sure to check out Etsy, eBay, and even your Facebook Marketplace. I have actually bought vintage sheets that were in great condition from off Facebook Marketplace to use as fabric. And when I sat down and figured out how much I spent, and even with the shipping, it ended up being like $3 or $4 a yard. It was great. So definitely check those out. There are a lot of online Etsy stores and eBay stores that have vintage fabric, but then they also do a print fabric through Spoonflower. So you could actually, I think, well, you can even get on Spoonflower and do your own custom prints if you want to. It is pricey to do that. But again, if you're making something that you plan on having for a long time, or you really need something specific for a special occasion, take some time to check them out. Now let's talk about sewing patterns. Because I loved just going, I mean, even if I wasn't going to buy a pattern, I loved just going through and looking at all the patterns just to see what was out there, what was new. And I'm going to really miss being able to do that. Now, the big four sewing patterns like Simplicity, McCall's, Butterick, and I forget the other one, Vogue. You can order and browse their patterns on their websites, which is great. But there are some other options. There's a lot of independent sewing patterns out there, sewing pattern companies. So definitely check them out. Style Arc is one that comes to mind. Thrifty Fabrics is another. And in addition to selling patterns, a lot of times they will offer like a special every now and then where you can get a free pattern just to try out. So definitely look and just search independent sewing pattern companies. If you Google that, you will come up with loads and loads to look at. Now, the other thing you can do is just search free sewing patterns. There are so many places where you can get free sewing patterns online, as long as you're willing to print out the PDF and put it together, which some people love, some people hate. I think I kind of enjoy it. It's sort of meditative. It's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle for me, so I kind of enjoy it. So definitely check that out. Peppermint Magazine comes to mind right away. They always have a collection of free patterns on there. They ask that if you're in a position and you can donate a few dollars, that's great. But you're not required to. You can still download the patterns for free. So I actually did a video about 2 years ago. I think I listed, just a handful of places online that you could get free sewing patterns, free PDF sewing patterns online. That I will be sure to link. I'll find that video and I will link that below as well, so that if you want to kind of get an idea, because there's places you can get free clothing patterns, you can get home decor patterns, toys, any project really. If you search, chances are you're going to find a free PDF pattern somewhere online. So that is my list. Like I said, I wanted to get through that as quickly as possible only because I didn't want to hold you up here all day. But before I go, I've already showed you the fabric that I have from Paper City Fabrics, but I want to kind of just give you some ideas. The fabric I'm about to show you all came from either a thrifted fabric store or from me out thrifting. This, whoops, is another pink linen tablecloth that I found, and it's one of those really huge tablecloths. Somebody had a ginormous dining room. Didn't use it. I didn't pull out the curtains that I have. Oh, another one that's really good, pillow shams. Especially if you want to pick off the lace, like around the edges and the ruffles, and reuse that for your project, and then you don't have to make it. Excuse me. Both of these pieces of fabric, I've used quite a bit of them. That's why there's not much here. These came from, well, this was a gift from a friend. So check with your friends. You might want to like start a little fabric exchange where you're like, you know, I'm not really using this, and you exchange fabric. This fabric is really super nice. There's a lady on TikTok, Blue Moon Designs, and she will occasionally clean out her stash. And she was selling it for like $7 a yard, and this is some really quality fabric. So also follow fellow sewists online, because sometimes if they run a small business, they're selling what is not in season because they know they're not going to use it again, and they'll clear out their stash. This was from Swanson's Fabric, another online thrift store. And so were these. These were, I think, clearance pieces that one of them had. So you can find fabric if you look hard enough. It's going to be the same as before when we would just be able to go to the store. It's not. But we find solutions. So thank you for joining me again this week. I know we did not do a craft project, but I did really want to come up with a list maybe of places that people can shop and try to find a way to be helpful in this time while we're kind of transitioning, trying to figure out how we're going to handle not having our beloved Joanns around anymore. So I am about to, got my square, I've got all my fabric. So it is time for me to go get started on my next project. I will do a couple of shorts just to kind of show you what I'm going to be getting up to. So I will be back next week, and I will promise it will be a less of a talking video and it will be more of a showing video. So I will see you next time, and we will have a new sewing project for you to follow. And until then, I hope everyone has a wonderful week and happy sewing.